Hi everyone, my name is Kathy Schmitt and I am an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator located in Loudon, New Hampshire. I blog at backyardstamper.com and you can sign up for my newsletter by going to the QR code here. Today I'm going to introduce you to guided scrapbooking using two kits from Stampin' Up! One is Currently Loving, and the other one is called Exploring Nature. So I wanted to show you what comes in each of the kits and how you go about putting them all together. So they come packaged just like this, and you have these supplies to do 3 two-page layouts plus extras. You get a full color instructional brochure, which shows you your cutting directions as well as placement for your pages. It also shows you how many photographs you might need if you want the projects to look just like here. So it will show you by projects. So each two-page spread is called a project in this kit. So let me show you the what else you get in the kit. First, you get designer paper, which is two-sided. In this particular kit, you're going to get 2 of these 3 pages of designer paper. Gorgeous paper. And then they have some dedicated sheets that are white on the back, and this is the background for one of the two-page spreads. Here is another dedicated designer paper, and then we have some two-tone cardstock, and what that means is it is a shade lighter on one side than the other. So you've got a dark side and a light side, which is pretty nice for scrapbooking and matching your photos. So you've got this pretty peacock color, a pecan pie color, secret sea, and cloud cover. So you get 1 of each of those sheets, and you're going to get 4 sheets of white willow cardstock. You also are going to get a sticker sheet. Oops, sorry, this is a punch out sheet. You get 2 of these. Sorry, 1 of these. And on the back of them, it lays out which project these punch outs go to. So I am going to show you the cutting to how to set up your pages, but I am going to let you punch out your pages, the doodads for the pages based on which page you're working on. And then you have a full color sticker sheet. So you do get 2 punch outs, and they're both labeled with what project they go to. And these here are your photo placeholders. So you'll see on my finished pages that I'll show you that I have these laid out, and then I just tack them down so you can twist them and pick them up when you're ready to add your photos, or go right over them. Use the white edge as a layering mat, so you can kind of do those any way you want to. All right, let me move the stickers and the decals out of the way, and I will bring back in my instructions. So when you get started, you'll notice that on the instructional sheet there's a scissors, which means this is your first cut. So each of these is a 12 by 12 page. The other thing to notice is if it has an asterisk, it's to use the back of the paper. So in this case, the back of the paper is this green paper. but there's no asterisk here. So this tells me that I am going to have this as my front side. So let's go ahead and I'm going to set these aside here. I'm going to grab all my DSP first and we'll cut those down. One thing you do need to pay attention to is the orientation of the paper. And in this particular case, this page is kind of an ombre page. So all of it except for an 1.25 inches on the side and the bottom is going to show. So there's no direction. It doesn't matter if you have it this way or this way. All right, so let me bring in my paper trimmer. This is a paper trimmer from Stampin' Up. And what I like about it is it has the swing arm that comes out, and it also has 1.5 inches on the right side of the cutting blade. So for little strips, it's nice to be able to look on this side versus having your paper way over here and trying to cut it down. The other thing I like about this trimmer is it has a scoring blade and a cutting blade. So the scoring blade is always the light gray and the cutting blade is the dark gray. So we're only going to use the cutting blade today. So I'm going to bring back in my instructions and it will give you the dimensions here. So it's 10 3/4 by 10 3/4. And my cut orientation is this side up. And you will see that my rectangles are in the landscape position, not the portrait. So that's one thing. Always look at your little boxes here. And for my upcoming class, I am going to do this prep cutting ahead of time, only because my class is a 2-hour class and we're going to make all 3 of these 2-page layouts. So in order to give everybody the ample time to do that, I am going to do this kind of cutting ahead of time and put them in a plastic sleeve marked with each project. So here is 3A, which is this piece here. Now we're going to save these. We're not going to use them today, but these make great additional trim if you would like to add more pages. So let me get my second piece here, and again I'm making sure that my boxes are horizontal because here is my cut orientation instruction. This one is 10 3/4 as well, so I'm bringing it across to my 10 3/4. I really like the way that they lay out the instructions in a picture format. Scrapbooking is a very visual hobby, so that makes sense to do that. Okay, so this is all cut and ready to lay off to the side. And I'm going to lay these pieces here. My second piece to cut is this pretty peacock. So I'm going to look at my instructions, and this has a print on the back side. It's kind of hard for you to see in the picture, but these boxes, these rectangles, are going vertically. So on the when I do my cutting, I want my boxes going vertically, these here. So here's an example of the front and the back. So I'm going to put it in my trimmer with this side up, and when I get done cutting, see how it has an asterisk after 1C? That means 1C is going to use this side. So let me show you what that means. So my first cut, according to the directions, is at 8 inches. So I'm going to bring that into my 8 and cut that. So here is my 2B right here. And this is my 1C. So that's pretty nice how they show you which ones to flip over. And we'll bring in our other one. And my first cut is at 4 inches. So we will do that. Whoops, you know what I almost did? I almost had my orientation going wrong. So I want to make sure I'm following the picture for my orientation, which has the rectangles here going up and down. So I'm going to cut at 4. This is my back piece. And then this piece says it's 8 inches wide, but it says to cut it down by 10 or to 10. So I'm going to go ahead and lay that in and cut that down at 10. So I've got a scrap again, and I have this piece here. Oops, I'm using this side. So here are my 2 pieces for this one. I've got a long piece and a short piece, or a long piece on one side and a short piece on this side. So we'll have to see what we're making with these. Okay, so I'm going to set my scraps aside. That is, so this is not necessarily all going to the same project. So see, this one is 3A and G. These are 2, and this one's a 1. So I know when I get done, I'm going to separate them into 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so now I have this paper here, and according to my directions, on this cut, my print is going in the normal landscape direction. So I'm going to cut it like this, but notice this one, the print is turned, and it's going to go like that. So let's do one side first. My first cut is at 2 inches. And this is my front, but I wanted to make sure my back is going the right way. So I need a 2 by 12 inch piece. Okay, and then I need a 10 by 12 piece. So I need, oops, I don't need to cut this at all. So these are my first page right here, or first cut, I mean. And then I have the second sheet, and I'm turning my paper to match the orientation here. And this is also the front. So see how this side here, this side was the front, and this is the back. On this one, this is the front piece, and the checks are the back. So just be careful and take your time when you're cutting these for the directions. And like I said, for the first couple of classes, I am going to do this kind of prep work for you. And then when you purchase additional kits, you can refer back to this video to see how I read through the directions and such. Okay, now on this last piece, I only need 1 1/4 by 5. So it's telling me to go ahead and cut down at 5 inches. So that's what I'm going to do. There's my 5-inch piece, and I'm going to turn it to 1 1/4. See, here's where I can go on this side. So that keeps my paper straight in my trimmer because I've got it pushed up against here. So I can go over to 1 1/4 on this side and making sure that my paper is all straight. And I'm going to use this side for that one. So I've got this and this. All right, so let's go ahead and set the scraps aside. We'll keep cutting and see where we're going to get to. I'm going to stop my cutting at the doodads and we'll sort through the piles. So now we're going to cut our cardstock. So the first one is this cloud cover. Remember, it's two-sided, and the light side, hold on one second, everything's kind of tumbling, so let's put that like so, there. So the light side is the back. So we're going to cut 2 3/4 by 12, and we're going to cut 2 of those. And the dark is the front. So 2 3/4 twice. Okay, so that piece is done. Next, I'll bring in my pecan pie. And again, it's the dark side's up. Here's the light side to give you an idea of the 2 different shades. And according to my directions, my first cut is at 4 1/2. So when you're reading these directions, the width is always the first number. And then the height is the second number. So 4 1/2 wide is my first cut. And then from there, I'm going to cut a 2-inch piece, a 6 1/2-inch piece, which leaves me with a 3 1/2-inch piece. So those are cut perfectly. And then my next cut is going to be at 3/4. And then I'm going to cut the second measurement at 4 1/4. So 4 1/4, 4 1/4, and the last cut, it's a 3 3/4. So I'm going to make a square piece. So there is my 3 3/4, and this is scrap, this little bit. And then my last piece is 4 1/4 wide, so yes, that's cut correctly, by 6 1/4. Right there. Okay, so this is extra. Next is my secret C. And my first cut are these little skinny ones. So I need a 1/4 inch wide by 12, a 1/4 inch wide by 11, and a 1/8 inch by 11. So quite skinny. And this is perfect to use this other side, because if you have your paper way over here, you can actually get into the trimmer crooked. So the dark side is the back on this one. So I'm putting the light side face up. To me, that's easier to do. And then you'll notice that when I cut these, they have the asterisk. So I'm going to flip them over, 2 of them, to the dark and leave 1 of them as the light. So here's my 1/4 inch by 12. So there's 1. That gets flipped over. 1/4 inch again. This time I need to cut an inch off because I need it at 11. Okay, and I'm also going to use that as a dark piece. Get that little scrap out of there. All right, then I need a 1/8 inch piece. So 1/8 is this little piece right here, that little mark. So we'll put that in. And that's a skinny little piece, and that needs to be cut to 11. So I'm going to cut an inch off. Okay, and that's going to stay as a light piece. So you can see the color contrast on those stripes. All right, and next I am going to cut a 1 inch off, so 11. Okay, and then turn it back, and I'm going to cut 2 5.5 by 11 pieces. So here's one, and I'm going to have a little strip left over. Here's 2. Okay, so this is left over, and these are the pieces I'll need. Put those in that pile, and then I've got Pretty Peacock, and I'm going to cut with the light side up. Isn't that fun how it has 2 different shades? So you can pick, and you can use these kits for cards. These same 12 by 12 papers are available to use for cards, and I tend to do that. And I like the two-tone because they are a lighter weight, so your scrapbooks don't get so bulky. Some of my older pages are quite bulky, and this way you can have less bulk on both your cards and your scrapbooks. All right, the last is 2 white willow pieces. And then we're going to put them together in our baggies, and I'll show you how to cut the Currently Loving kit. All right, so my first cut is at 4 1/4. 4 1/4 white willow. This does not have a different front and back. This is the same, both sides. Oh, you know what? Let me move these pieces so I don't accidentally think they are scrap. Okay, and then my next cut is at 7 1/4, which is there. Seven 1/4. Then I need a 3 1/4 cut by 3 1/4. So on this particular page to cut, I've got these as my scraps. I am going to be cutting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 3 1/4 inch squares. So we've got 3 1/4, and this is it's not at all time consuming, but it is something to, you've got to take your time with it so that you make sure you're reading the directions correctly and you're cutting in the orientation that the directions want you to. So it's just take your time at it. That's the beauty of scrapbooking, is it's a very relaxing hobby, and sometimes I make my kits before I have my photos. And then when I do it like that, I will just prep my pages very similar to what I'm doing here, but not add the doodads and definitely not add the stickers until I have my photos. Okay, so that's one side. Put these over here. These are my scraps. See how you end up with a lot of scraps, which is great. Because if you do make a mistake or anything, you've got some extra pieces. Okay, I need a 4 1/4. I have to make sure I'm reading that correctly. And that's going to be by 6 1/4. So that tells me my photo might be a 4 by 6. And this might be my photo mount for this particular page. Okay, and then I need another 3 1/4 inch square. So we'll do it like so and turn it. Okay, and then we are going to 2 3/4. By 2 3/4. Okay, all of my cutting is done. Let me move this out of the way and let's put our pieces together, our package. So what I like to do is just lay them into piles, 1, 2, 3. So I'm going to start with this one. The small one was a 1G. These two are 2s. And then let me get these whites. I'm just going to work backwards. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of the squares. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 go in the number 1 pile. 2 go in the number 2 pile. And this long one also goes in the number 2. So let's see what we've got over here. These both go to number 1. All right, so let's look at these. The big pieces go to number 1. The small pieces, the strips, go to number 2. Project 2. Let's see here. So I've got these going to project 2 and the long pieces going to project 1. We'll put those underneath. Okay, let's look at the brown. We've got all of this brown goes to 3. They're all 3s. So that makes it easy. And here is where I might also verify which side I'm using. So I'm using the dark side for all of them. But I like to keep them in the size, you know, small to big. So this, okay, so I've got a bigger one there, and then these, and then these and this. Okay, so we'll go ahead and put that there. And then last, the cloud cover, those, whoops, sorry, did you see what I did? I put those all in pile 2. They go in pile 3. So you have to keep me focused. All right, this also goes to number 3. Let's keep working ourselves back to the beginning. So I'm going to go take my designer paper, and this page I had the 5 and 11, and I had a 1 1/4 by 5, and they are both page 2, and they both go in this orientation. The other side is also, these are also 2s, and they go in this orientation. Let me scooch that over. So, isn't it fun to put them, like, put your piles together? Okay, the next one is This one here is the back of it. So it's because it's got an asterisk. So this was the back. So that goes over here. And this one goes as number 2. And then the next one, this is also a 1. And this one is also a 2. It's just like so. All right, and then we've got 2 3s here. So that is how I'm going to set up the projects for the class. And then what people will do is take the doodads here, and I might actually punch those out. Let's see here. I do like how they say the projects on the back, so we can do it pretty quickly. So I'm just going to go ahead and put project 1. We'll just put them upside down. Okay, this one's project 2. Let's just show you how easy it is to get ready. Get your projects supplies ready. So these are all project 1. And they just are literally punch outs. And I'm not going to do the sticker sheet because the obviously has adhesive on the back. So those are project 1. So when you take a class from me, this is how you're going to get your first package of class materials. And then if we decide to have a longer class, like a 3-hour class instead of a 2-hour class, then I would have you cut your own. But because we have a time frame that we have to stick within, I did not want you spending all the time trying to cut the designer paper and not have any time to do your projects. So this is my little help to you to help in the prep work. Okay. And I did, if you do accidentally tear your your doodad, this actually goes under a photo mount, so it's not going to show, but I will put a little adhesive to fix that. So, lesson learned, don't just yank. Okay. There are a lot of doodads. And it's like I'm just looking from the back and I'm just looking at project 1, project 2. So I don't even know what these are going to look like yet. I mean, I do, but you don't, because I've already put one of them together, which I'll show you here in just 2 seconds. Some of these bigger doodads you can certainly put on your pages even when you don't have the photographs. And some of them you may want to wait. So I will show you how to, if you do put your doodads on, how to do it so that they won't interfere with future pictures that you might put on. Almost there. 3. Okay, so what I will do is put all these in plastic sleeves marked as what project they are. So these are all going to get turned over. Kind of fun, huh? All right, so that's those, and then this here. We've got leaves and journaling and titles, like so, and again, some extra doodads and tags, little arrow banners, and a title. So that is the Exploring Nature kit, and let me show you what a finished page might look like. Let me see. So here is this one here, and I've got my doodads, my photo mounts, and my bands here. So that's what this pile looks like. This is my first layout, and I've got the special designer paper, and then I've got these strips here. So that one goes over here. Oops, I'll just put it on top. And then my third one has the horizontal boxes, and then you lay out, see how there's the writing going that direction and the writing going this direction. So yeah, fun stuff. Okay, let me pick these up and I will switch over to the currently loving. So I'm just going to put them back together. That was number 1. This is number 2. And this is number 3. And then you still have all the stickers. And then the next step would be, so when you start the class, you're already going to be able to skip the first 5 pages. And then this will tell you how to lay them out. They give you dimensions from the top if you want. I tend to eyeball, but the main thing is you do both pages at the same time. So in this case here, let me just show you very quickly. In this case here, I set my 2 pages down next to each other, like so, and I just made sure that my strips match, because it's a 2-page spread. So I have a continuous line going right across. So it's not so much the measurement, it's more about the bigger picture. Okay, so that goes there. Okay, so that is that, and then I've got my sticker sheet, and I've got a whole bunch of scraps available. Look at all the leftovers after you cut. These go with the projects, these here. So these are all my scraps. Isn't that wonderful? Okay. Let me go ahead and put that over here. And that again, the name of that kit is what did I do with it? Here it is. The name of this kit is Exploring Nature, which I think is perfect for New Hampshire. We are an outdoor state. All right. The second kit that we're going to be doing at this guided scrapbooking class, so participants have the choice of kits, they can do the Exploring Nature or the Currently Loving. This one here is a beautiful, beautiful kit. So you've got your, these are the background pages. Oops, I got two stuck together here. So I've got two of these, two of this one. And the way you tell if they're the background page or the two-sided paper is they're not two-sided. Okay, see, this one is a two-sided page, so that's two designer papers. I'm just separating one of this pattern, two of this pattern. So that's my designer paper. Then I have one petal pink, so you've got dark and light, one cloud cover, two Secret Seas, and two crumb cake. Love this two-tone. And then you have one white willow. Is that all you get on white? Yep, one white willow. All right, so I am going to set these aside for the moment. Let me show you what else. This one here, if you were going to make your pictures look exactly the same, it says to get 15 photos, and it even tells you the size of the photos, which I think is handy. But for me personally, I like a lot of pictures on my pages, so I'm going to basically do it that way. And you've got your punch out sheet with all your projects. This is another punch out sheet. And so this becomes part of your page, because I'm going to punch out these circles, and that becomes a peekaboo page. And I'll tell you a tip. This is your sticker sheet. We'll set that aside. You've got your photo mounts. And this is just the back paper. Okay. So let's go ahead, and I'm going to punch these out. Let's punch these out first this time. So I'm going to punch out all the projects, and I'll just do the same thing, put them in piles. And then you can decide, like, if you don't want something that says beautiful, you can keep it, you can flip it over and add a title. You can use only a portion of it, like say you want to have only like a little tag sticking out, so you'd have like that much coming out. It's still versatile. And or you could save it for a card or another scrapbook page. And I will show you, I did I have added some pictures to mine, and I needed more of the same type of page to tell my story. So I'll show you how I added a little bit extra to make, instead of a 2-page spread, it's a 4-page spread. So this is Currently Loving. Again, it's a kit from Stampin' Up. And I will say, I have been a Stampin' Up demonstrator since 2002, and their scrapbooking kits have come a very long way. So very long. I really like the directions and how simplified they are. They're visual, they're easy to follow, and I also like that they are using the 2-tone cardstock, so the books don't get quite as bulky, because mine, that's like the spine is like so full, because my book's like this, so my spine, when you turn the page, it's always like in agony. All right, so these go to page, or project 3. And this one does too, project 3. Let's see what these, so even though you've got a lot of doodads, they're not like, they're pretty big in size, so punching them out doesn't take that long. And again, just take your time so you don't tear anything. I find it easier to press down and pull the white paper up, because if you were punching them from the front, you'd punch backwards in most cases. So I just find doing it that way is easier. I hope you're excited about this. And we have, so the venue that I'm going to be doing my class at, I haven't even told you yet. It's the Gilmanton Winery in Gilmanton, New Hampshire. The date for this particular class is March 8th, 2026. Registration is open now. I will have a link on my Facebook page, and they also have a link on their Facebook page to register. So I hope you will give it a try. This is kid friendly. It's something you can do with your girlfriends. It's a Sunday afternoon. So while the guys are watching sports, the girls can be having a nice time. And it's a winery, so it's kind of like a scrap and sip class. So I'm almost done punching. This is really, I will say, the tedious part of it. I forgot my own thing to just punch through the white instead of trying to come backwards with it. Project 1. I know I've got another one under here. There's another project 2. Nice big one. Let's get rid of this one. Well, that'll make us feel like we're almost done, right? Okay. And we'll do just these last ones here. A lot of leaves in this kit, which is, they're beautiful. All right, project 1 and one more project 3, and this is done. Okay, all punched out. Get out these. All right, let's put this one back a little bit. Okay, we'll turn it over so you can kind of see. So a lot of leaves, some circles. Okay, this one here has a big scallop circle and a title, and then this one here has some really nice sized leaves and some words. Okay, so there's my 1, 2, and 3. All right, let's get cutting. So remember that the scissor is your first cut, and the asterisk means we're going to use the back of the paper. So all of these, I'm going to use the front of the paper. Now this is an example of watching your orientation. So in this picture, my page is set up like this. These big pieces are on my right hand side. Okay, and the only one that I'm cutting out is this one. So I'm going to cut this line out, and then I'm going to cut it down. So that's a little tricky to see. Oops, sorry. That's a little tricky to see, but we'll just walk through it. And then you'll have this designer paper to add little doodads of your own. So you want to start at the top. Oops, let me open up my arm. So I'm going to come down till there's a little mark on your cutting the tool that shows me where I'm stopping. So I'm stopping right on this line here. And then what I'm going to do is put it back in from the top, and I'm going to cut down to my cut line. So I'm matching up my little cut line there. So this is all available to use in your scrapbooks or for cards, and you've got this beautiful paper design. All right, so now it says to basically cut off 1/4 inch from each side. So I'm going to do my 2 sides first. So they look even. If they don't look even, go ahead and give them a little smidgen more. So it looks like I have about the same amount of white. I could even go just a smidgen smaller. There. So now I have the same amount of white, and then I'm going to cut 1/2 inch from the top and the bottom. And the piece that you're going to have left is going to be 5 by 3.5. Okay, that is, oh, and you know what? Okay, hold on, I did say, so this piece here, so that is project 2, but I need these 2 blocks for projects. So in this particular case, they didn't tell you what your first cut should be. There's no scissors there, but what you want to be sure is you're following down a straight line all the way, the full length of the 12 by 12. So that's what I'm going to do from here, whether I need, which square I need, and then I'm going to just put them in. This is scrap. This is the one I need. And I'm basically putting my line that I want to cut right in the center of the groove, the track here. There. Those are my 2 pieces. This one actually is a 1. So see 1, 2, and 2. And the rest of that is scrap. Then it has on the back kind of the weird thing about this is you can just flip this paper over and use this side, and that would save you one whole sheet. So that's what I'm going to do with this one. Let me double check. Double check that we're not using the striped paper. Nope. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to cut, because this, as long as your orientation is sideways, which it is, we can cut a 1 inch by 8. So like that, because I hate to cut a whole piece of designer paper if we didn't need to, right? So that's a number 3. And then I need another 1 inch. And you're still going to have a nice section here if you end up, oops, that's 1.5. If you end up wanting to add more pictures or make more pages following the same theme, you will be able to do that. So I need one cut at 6 and one cut at 5 3/4. Okay, that's a number 1. This was a scrap, so we'll put that over here in my... All right, let's see here. Next, we're going to take this floral paper and we're going to cut. The green is the front, the flowers are the back. It's non-directional, so the flowers can go any way you'd like, right? And we need 2 4-inch by 12s, so we'll cut those. 1, 2. These both go to project 2. And then I need 2 1/2-inch pieces by 5 3/4. So there's my 1/2-inch. I'm moving it onto this side so all of this can stay at the top to help me keep it straight. This goes in the scrap bin. And 5 3/4. There's 1. And 2. These are number 1s. All right, and the next one is one of these, and we're going to cut a 10 by 10 square. So we'll go ahead and put it at the 10. Make sure that's all the way in the camera here. That's extra. You rotate, make that a 10, and that's going to be project 3. And then from my second piece of that same pattern, but this time the front is this checkered. So you want to make sure you're watching your direction. The diamonds are going vertically. So that's what I want to do. I want a 1/2-inch by 12 strip. There's 1. That's project 2. Another one, 1/2-inch by 12. It's also going to be number 2. And then I need a 3 by 3. 3. These are coming over. And 3. All right. Next, for my crumb cake, 2-tone cardstock. I've got 2 of those. So I'm going to take the first one, and the dark side is up. So this is the dark side. Come to the dark side. All right, and my first cut says 4 1/4. So I do 4 1/4. Then I'm going to do, 3 1/4 twice. So I get 2 of these. 4 1/4 by 3 1/4. And then one more at 3 1/4. And turn that back and cut it as a 3 1/4 square. So what I did was this one here, 4 1/4 by 3 1/4, 3 1/4, and then I cut that last one down to the 3 1/4 square. These are all going to go to project 1. And then with this big piece, I'm going to cut at 5 1/4. So 5 1/4. by 7 1/4. And the dark side is up on that. And that goes here too. That looks like the light side, but it's really not. So, and these are all extras. So when I did this page, I hope that wasn't too confusing for you, that I left one whole page without cutting it, because I should have done it just like the way the directions said. But sorry if that confused you, but if you have any questions, remember, this is your kit that I'm cutting for you. So if you have any questions, you will be able to ask me before you start cutting. All right, so on my next page, oops, the light side goes up, and my first cut is going to be at 10 inches. So I've got 10 inches. And I have 10 inches. So I have a square 10 inch. And then I need a 1/4 inch from this 10 inch piece. Okay, so I've got a 10 inch and a strip. And these are extra. We're almost done with our cutting. Next is our cloud cover. This one, the light side is up, and if you're having trouble figuring it out, just kind of roll one back and then it becomes pretty obvious. My first cut's at 3. And I am going slower than, you know, maybe I would in real life, because I want to explain each step. So this part here, you won't need to fret about at all, because this will be done for you. So this is, I need 1 1/4 and 5 1/2. There. Okay, these are extras. And now for my petal pink, you're going to use the dark side. And again, if you're not sure, just roll it back. And you only need to cut one of these, and this is going to be 4 1/4 wide. Remember, the width is always first, 4 1/4, and then your height is the second measurement, and that's going to be 6 1/4. That is number 3. And then the last is going to be our white willow. So this is the last piece to cut, and we will lay out our pieces on this. So the first cut is 4 1/4. So 4 1/4. And then I'm going to turn it to 3 1/4, and I need 3 of those. So here's 3 1/4. Another 3 1/4, and another 3 1/4. And from this extra piece, I need 1 3/4. So there we go, 1 3/4. This is extra, 1 3/4. So there. And these are all project number 2. And then the next cut is another 4 1/4. and I need 2 more of the 3 1/4. So project 2 is going to have 5 total 4 1/4 by 3 1/4 pieces. And then I'm going to cut this one down to 3 1/4 by 3 1/4. Project 1, and one last one is going to be 3 by 3. Okay, let's see what we've got. I'm going to work backwards. Oops, that goes over here. Again, for my projects. Well, I don't have to this time because I have them already arranged. So that was much easier. So I've got this piece and this one. And then I had these as my punch outs. So I've got my cut pieces and my punch outs. Let me just grab these out from under that. And that, so we keep it nice and tidy. There. So you can see that here are my project number 3 pieces. Okay, I'll show you what that looks like. That is going to look like this. So I had this piece here is the cutout, which goes here. And the tip is, on my page, I actually tacked these down. But what you'd want to do is put your photograph behind first and then tack it down. Because now I got to kind of peel it back up to slide my photos in. So that's my little tip for that one. So this is project 3. All right, and then let's bring in project 2. It's right here. And I've got all of these. See how they're all the same size? I've got these 2 strips and this punch out. And what this is going to look like is this is one I added photos to already. So I'm going to put them on a cloud cover card stock, or it's a specialty one, the one that is white on the back. Add my green, add my stripe, and add some punch outs. So this was my daughter's wedding. So that is project 2 using these pieces. And then my project 1 is these here. So I've got all of these and my doodads, and that one's going to look like this. So this is a whole background page with these circles. So I've got these all ready to go, and then you've got your stickers to add. And then remember how I said you can add, I needed a 4-page spread. So at my daughter's wedding, she got married on an island, so we had to get to the island and then they had the ceremony. So I have a second 2-page layout. I didn't have this any more of the special paper, but I did have the 2-tone cardstock that was very similar. I had an extra bit of this. It wasn't quite as wide, and I had a strip. So this and the mirror page, which I haven't finished yet, will be like 1-page spread, and then so it'll be like, oh, there it is right there. So I have pictures here, then I'm gonna turn it and open it, and there will be the next. Actually, it's gonna go this way. because he's walking her and then they're saying it. So this is what I meant about having extra available to add more pictures. And look at how much pictures I added. I added a ton. And I just used the white that was left over and made a skinny little border for him. So, and again, this kit is, oops, I gotta put those back so I can put them in their sleeves. There. This kit is the Currently Loving kit. And my sticker page, here's my photo mounts for that one, and my sticker page, and yep, sticker page. And I haven't used the numbers yet. I don't know. I don't know that I'm going to use all these, but I love this kind of stuff here. Extra leaves, little doodads, and these two borders, really nice. So, with the guided scrapbooking class, you're going to finish the 3 2-page layouts that I showed you, and you'll have your choice of the Exploring Nature kit or the Currently Loving kit. And if you can't decide, you can make one kit at the class and bring another kit home to work on. So, and it will be at the Gilmanton Winery on March 8th. I had a little sheet here, but I think I took it to show somebody and I didn't bring it back. But you can go to my website, backyardstampr.com, to look at, to find the further information about it. All right, thank you, and I hope to see you there. Sorry.